We do continue talking about the crime scene where the Orlando Pirates star Senzo Meyiwa was shot, which is now in the spotlight today as cross-examinations continues at the High Court in Pretoria. The state's first witness, Forensic Officer Sergeant Thabo Mosia, conceded under cross-examination by Defense Advocate Dan Teffo that Senzo Meyiwa's crime scene had been compromised. Joining me now is Criminologist Simon Howell to give us a sense of his thoughts. A very good afternoon to you. Thank you for your time. We've heard a lot about questions really referring to what transpired in the crime scene and the events leading up to the crime scene. Questions also speaking to what the forensic expert Thabo Mosia did in that house, and also trying to verify the authenticity of the pictures that he took. What have you made of the testimony when it comes to what a crime scene should look like for the role of a forensic expert? Okay, we are still trying to get hold of our criminologist, Simon Howell, of course, to answer some questions around the crime scene. What is an ideal crime scene supposed to look like, and what role, perhaps, is the forensic expert meant to play when looking at the crime scene? Very good afternoon to you, Simon Howell. What is your take?
Hi, good afternoon. Well, I mean, ideally, a crime scene is one that is left completely alone and not contaminated or, disturbed in any way. And ideally one that is attended to by police officers or forensics officers quite rapidly, so as to prevent the deterioration of any evidence that may exist. That, of course, being said, I mean, in the real world it can be more difficult than that. But the primary object then is to secure the crime scene so as that nothing can be touched or no intervention can occur.
And in trying to secure the crime scene, some of the steps that seem to be very crucial have been left out, according to what we're hearing from court, like taking swabs, the DNA swabs on the door handle that was allegedly used by the intruder. We heard the forensic expert, Thabo Mosia, saying that he didn't feel it necessary to take the swabs at that door handle because a lot of people had already come in and out of the house.
Well, yeah, exactly. So in that instance, then there would be no point taking evidence from the door handle as it had already been contaminated. And that speaks to the concern around, securing the crime scene so as to prevent that type of contamination occurring in the first place. The problem, of course, is that if there is contamination, then that evidence is no longer admissible in a court of law because it does not reflect the crime scene as it was when the crime occurred.
And some of the other hard-hitting questions spoke to who was inside the house as the officer went in to try and conduct his own investigation as a forensic expert. And what we learned was that he said he decided to put and place some of the occupants in a bedroom because there were children there and it was late at night. And not much clarity on whether or not they may have slept there and spent the night there. But as he arrived in the morning, they certainly weren't there. But, is there reason for concern when a crime scene has been reported and those who were there, the occupants, are still within the very house?
Yeah, look, I think there's been some basic failures around both securing the crime scene but also attending to the crime scene in a rapid manner. I believe that he was not on scene till some 4 hours later or 5 hours later, which is obviously problematic in itself. Dealing with witnesses or dealing with occupants of the house requires a certain level of tact, but also requires that they are removed from the actual core area where the crime occurred so as that they don't contaminate any of the evidence. In both instances, I don't think that occurred here. So, of course, there's now doubts around the evidence itself, but also around the procedures that were followed, or the lack thereof.
Okay, thank you so much for weighing in very quickly. Criminologist Simon Howell speaking to some of the points and factors coming out of the Senzo Meyiwa murder trial.